Welcome to the Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community, a space where justice meets action and community voices rise. Each episode, we bring you stories from the front lines, changemakers, disruptors, and everyday heroes who are building a more just, equitable, and liberated world. This is more than a podcast. It's a call to listen, learn, and move together. You were just listening to music from the incredibly talented Stephen Kong. You can find him on Spotify and Bandcamp. Today we're joined by Marienne Cuison, the wife of Lyle Prijoles. While recent headlines have focused on the tragic circumstances surrounding Lyle's death, today's conversation is about something deeper. It's about a life devoted to community, justice, family, and service. It's about the people he loved, the values he carried, and the legacy that continues through those whose lives he touched. Well, hi, Yan Yan. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I'm really honored and really grateful, that you're taking the time to share this platform with me. But how are you doing today?
Doing okay. Yeah, doing well today.
Yeah, no. Thank you thank you again for your time. But just starting off, for listeners who may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Marianne. I am based in Hayward, California.
Mhm.
Um, I'm the wife of Lyle Prijoles, who is one of the 19 that were massacred on April 19th in Toboso Negros.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that. And, I'd love to just use this as a space to honor Lyle's legacy and his life. But, before we go into more of his life, I'd love to hear more about the two of you and the relationship that you shared. So how did you and Lyle first meet?
It's actually through organizing spaces. So
Okay.
we were both in different organizations. He was in the League of Filipino Students, and I believe I was in Anak Bayan during that time.
Oh,
So that's how we met. I was actually around the same time. I was probably still in Public Allies.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Cool. No,
So around that time,
yeah.
yeah, we were getting more into, I was getting more into different organizations and he was already in the different organizations here.
Okay, no, that's wonderful. And what first drew you to Lyle? Yeah, I'm curious to hear that. Like, what is it that you noticed about him that stood out to you?
He knows a lot of
Uh-huh.
different like history and things about organizing. But
Yeah.
he also, once you get to know him, he's a chatterbox, but at
Uh-huh.
first not so chattery.
No, that's cool. And, I just been loving to see all these different tributes pouring into him. It seems like, he was such a amazing human being. I'm sad that I didn't get a chance to know him too. But when you think about your life together, what are some of the first memories that come to your mind?
Let's see, first memories.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when we started to first date,
Uh-huh.
I would say it's like all of the different organizational like activities we would get to go to and like
Yeah.
help do behind the scenes work together. And then I think every single Star Wars movie that would come out, we would go and watch the like very first showing. And then
Yeah.
just like a lot of family gatherings, I would say we would make sure to attend and be
Yeah.
present.
No,
So
I
a
think
lot
that's
of like
cool.
food and family and Star Wars.
No, I saw that too, that like, with the Star Wars and everything. But did you ever go to the theaters like dressed up or like all out or anything? Okay, that's cool. No, I think that's cool because, yeah, when I've seen the movies too, just seeing people wear different things. So I was just curious too if you went dressed up too. So if someone had never met Lyle, how would you describe him to them?
When you first meet him, he
Hmm.
is very observant and polite and doesn't say much, right?
Yeah.
So right off the bat, um, he won't like overtly like take up the conversation or
Hmm.
take up space. But once you like strike a conversation about a topic that he loves, which is like with my sister, it was about world history, and they just talked for hours about world history. Um, once he gets comfortable, he will not stop.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to talk to him, which is why I think so many people valued his friendship, and he valued a lot of people's friendships and made time for people all the time. But yeah, he was just a very genuine, caring guy
Yeah.
who was just present whenever he was with you.
No, I really love that. And what were some of the values that you felt like guided his life?
I think, well, from a very young age, his
Mm-hmm.
family actually had a local bakery in San Diego, named after his mom. So
Okay.
he grew up with a lot of like community members. And one of the memories that he had was about that I think he learned later on that his dad would give out food to
Wow.
people who are less fortunate or make sure that those around him were like taken care of. So I think he saw a good role model in his parents of what it meant to be in community and what values to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he carried that forward in when he left San Diego to go to San Francisco State University, and then even in after graduating from undergraduate school, in whatever work he did,
Mm-hmm.
or even uh, jobs he took up, it was usually with people.
Yeah.
Whether it was like AV tech for hotels, you would
Okay.
have to work in a team, or the different organizations he's in, he would help. He would always work with others. So I think he valued that.
Mm-hmm.
Although he was an introvert. So I think even though, so
Okay.
we're a bit opposite. I'm more extrovert, he's more introvert. So after big events, he'll need a little bit of time to just chill for,
Okay.
for a while, which is something even my family knew. So when we would have big family parties afterwards, my
Yeah.
mom would be like, oh, okay, he needs to decompress a little.
Yeah.
So I think that was the different. He enjoyed being with family, but he also, with my family, we're huge. So it was a new adjustment for him.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And just knowing you personally, I know that you have like a huge heart. You really care about community, have done a lot of activism with your work as well. But do you feel like the two of you were able to like just bounce that energy off of each other? I'd love to just hear like more about like how that activism showed up in both of your lives and how you were able to like pursue justice together.
Yeah. I mean, we met through the organizations.
Hmm.
Again, he was in League of Filipino Students at San Francisco State University. I was
Yeah.
at the time in Anak Bayan. It's another youth and student organization that was based in Silicon Valley.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so we were working on different conferences together and just in the general spaces together. And then it wasn't until we started to get to know each other more that we developed a friendship and then developed a relationship.
Yeah.
But I would say because we understood each other's like lives and it
Hmm.
understood what our values were, it strengthened even more our commitment to the community work that we were doing.
Hmm.
Um, it was also easy to like share with each other ideas,
Yeah.
and then we also helped each other in whatever. If I was having a hard time, he would help me. If he was having a hard time, we would help each other. So, of course, we both had our strengths and weaknesses, but we also helped each other overcome weaknesses or at least like helped each other point it out if there were
Yeah.
things that we were having a hard time with.
No, I really love that. Thank you for sharing that. And, I know that you spoke about this a little before, but I'd love to hear more about it. But, what kind of issues or things do you feel that he really cared about, that he cared
Hmm.
really deeply about?
Yeah. The issues he really cared about, I mean, anything related to the Philippines, he was passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the Bay Area, he really cared about. I mean, he did help with the International Coalition for Human Rights in the Philippines, their legislative work
Mm-hmm.
around. We were trying to pass the Philippine Human Rights Act,
Mm-hmm.
PHRA, which would cut military aid to the Philippines.
Okay.
But I think he was very passionate about when there's human rights violations happening in the Philippines, how do we spread more awareness here in the Bay Area and actually everywhere, all over the US. So I think those were the things that he was passionate about. And then even learning about the different issues happening in the places in the Philippines that you don't really hear the stories about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he really wanted to ensure people learned about the Philippines, knew the history of the Philippines, because even from a young age, he was already into history. So
Uh-huh.
I think it was an easy fit for him to like be able to teach about Philippine history.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And actually, I'd love to talk with you more about that. So, how did he connect his Filipino heritage to his advocacy and community work?
Mm-hmm. He was born and raised in San Diego.
Okay.
Didn't learn Tagalog.
Uh-huh.
So. Everyone's like, oh, wait, he's in the Philippines. How is he
Uh-huh.
speaking to people? I was like, he'll learn. Um,
Yeah.
but I think at a young age, he would attend conferences that were being held at the different universities in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from a young age, he already learned that there's more things out there to learn about.
Oh,
Um, and so I think his connection to being Filipino really was like the environment he grew up in. So he grew up in
okay.
San Diego. He grew up with a lot of Filipinos around in general. And then
Mm-hmm.
his family's bakery was actually a place where a lot of Filipino community members would like come and gather.
Wow.
So I think he became interested in learning more about his heritage and culture.
Yeah.
And then I believe his sister was sharing with me that he also like would go to poetry conferences and connect with people.
Okay.
So, and I think that's also what his high school friends are sharing is that he is the one that like connected everyone
Mm-hmm.
to learn more about the Philippines, especially since there was a lot of Filipinos in San Diego.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And what would you say that what injustices particularly moved him to action?
Oh, I unfortunately was not on his first trip to the Philippines because we
Okay.
didn't meet. In 2007, he first went to the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
actually with his best friend, Brandon Lee, who
Okay.
is a survivor of an attempted assassination by the Philippine state.
Okay.
He was in the northern part of the Philippines, and that happened 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he was actually based here in the Bay Area. So he was sharing with me, I think on their first trip to the Philippines, I mean, I think it clicked for Lyle that the
Yeah.
injustices that um, all the peasant and worker masses in the Philippines who
Mm-hmm.
produce so much of the riches of the Philippines, like the produce and products um, and the land is so rich in the Philippines, he just couldn't unsee anymore that all these things, if the peasant masses were able to even just eat the rice that they're
Yeah.
tilling, they would be able to feed themselves three times over. So to him, it was a question on why are so many people poor in the Philippines when there's
Mm-hmm.
all this like riches um,
Right.
that if it was for everyone, no one would need to go hungry.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And next I want to talk to you about more just like his vision. So I know a lot of change makers, including myself, we're like doing this work because we have this like greater vision or like hopes of what we want to see for our future. So it kind of gives us like, this light at the end of the tunnel, basically. So I'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you think that his dreams were for the future? Like, what kind of vision, like, what do you feel like he was fighting for?
I think, I mean, his actually both our parents, my dad and his dad went through the military to get to, well, for
Oh,
my dad specifically, military to get to the US.
mm-hmm,
Um, all of our families migrated from the Philippines, although we still have some extended family in the Philippines. But I think
mm-hmm,
for us, and for his vision is that people wouldn't have to leave the Philippines if
okay.
the Philippines actually had what it needed to sustain people's livelihood and make sure people had their basic needs met. I
Mm-hmm,
think that's the vision he was looking for and fighting for.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then also just fighting against, I mean, we've gone through so many regimes in the Philippines that just
mm-hmm,
constantly commit human rights violations. So I think he really saw the need
yeah.
that a system needed to change in the Philippines so that the people could
Right.
actually like live.
Yeah, no, I really love that. And next I was wondering if you could just talk more about like what's going on for listeners who might not really be aware about the situation. So can you just talk more about the fight for justice for Negros 19?
Yes.
Hmm.
So yeah, unfortunately on April 18th or April 19th,
Okay.
in Toboso Negros, the massacre happened. So it was the 79th Infantry Battalion of the Armed Forces of the Philippines that basically opened fire on 19 individuals.
Hmm.
And then they did a media blackout, and
Hmm.
also quarantined the area for 2 days. So actually, we weren't informed. We knew something happened, but we weren't informed until they lifted that blackout.
Hmm.
Um, and then also in the process of it, they also displaced over 600. community members because they evacuated everyone out of the area. Um, so on that day, they were identified. I mean, the civilians that were identified
Mhm.
are RJ Ledesma, who's a journalist and actually from Negros. Alyssa Alano, who is a youth and student leader of UP Diliman, one of the universities in the Philippines.
Mhm.
Errol Wendell, who is a peasant. Actually, Errol Wendell and Maureen Santuyo are both peasant advocates who
Okay.
have been there to actually research a land dispute between the landlords and the peasants in that particular area. And then Kai Sorum, who is from Tacoma, Washington
Mhm.
area, um, and activist, part of Anak Bayan, South Seattle, and then Lyle was the other one. And then there was unfortunately two miners that were also killed,
Oh no.
um,
Okay.
and a local farmer that was also killed. And then the 10 of them were identified as part of the New People's Army. The New People's Army actually claimed that there's 10, um, and the rest were civilians.
Yeah.
So we had to look at the root issues that are happening in Negros. If someone were to research or look up what is
Mhm.
happening in Negros, it's actually a maybe like more than four generations or five generations of disputes about
Mhm.
land,
Okay.
where there's like landlords who own or claim the land,
Mhm.
but there's also the sugarcane farmers who actually till the land. So it's really an issue of land, a land dispute.
Okay.
And specifically in some parts of Negros, there are land that actually should be going to the farmers themselves already. And that's where
Okay.
the landlords, who might be also the governor or a public official who also works closely with the Philippine National Police in the area, all of them create mechanisms to ensure that the farmers do not get the land that they deserve. So it's an issue of land historically. Unfortunately, this isn't the first massacre that has happened in Negros. As early as 1985, there was a Escalante massacre. In the past recent years, there's also massacres of family and farmers. So we are trying to also raise more awareness
Mhm.
that the issue of the Negros 19 isn't just a issue that happened on April 19th, but it's actually been
Right.
an ongoing issue um, in Negros, but also in different parts of the Philippines. So
Right.
if folks wanted to learn more, there's the Defend Negros campaign that actually has a lot of the resources.
Mhm.
Karapatan, which is a human rights organization in the Philippines, also has like been releasing different educational segments on Negros. And then there's different peasant organizations that also have material to explain what's the conditions in Negros. And actually, a lot of webinars coming up on the
Okay.
issues in Negros.
Okay, great. No, thank you for sharing that. And, so for people who may be listening to this conversation and they want to support in some sort of way, what would you recommend that they do, like to show up in solidarity or offer support to what's going on right now?
Yeah, there's many ways. I
Okay.
mean, whatever ways people want to join. So
Okay.
there's the Defend Negros, Northern
Yeah.
California. Actually, I believe there's a Defend Negros in Northern California now.
Hmm.
There's a Defend Negros in Washington State. And then
Okay.
in the Philippines, throughout the Philippines, there's also Defend Negros campaigns going on.
Uh-huh.
That's one way if people want to get involved or even just attend an educational webinar to learn
Hmm.
more. If there are people who actually want to go visit the Philippines or visit Negros
Uh-huh.
and see what the farmers actually go through, those are trips that we can also bring people to.
Hmm.
So those are like two distinct ways for Negros. In the upcoming months, we are looking at figuring out what's the advocacy or legislative work that we could do to cut military aid to the Philippines.
Right.
So that's another way is if there's individuals who wants to join or organizations that wants to join the efforts to advocate to our public officials that
Hmm.
we shouldn't be sending military aid to the Philippines, given the human rights violations that it most likely contributes to.
Uh-huh.
That would be another venue. And then what are other ways? If people want to contribute art, or if they're moved to like write something about
Oh,
to the uh, about the Negros 19, those are also ways people can contribute. And
mhm.
more recently, we actually had part of the Defend Negros campaign is Marcos, the administration in the Philippines was trying to go for a UN seat on the Security Council.
Uh-huh.
And the vote just happened and he did not get it. So it's a people's victory that we were able to campaign and shed light on the human rights violations that the UN also recognized not to give him a seat.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And with the next question, I think about my own experience too. So I know we talked a little bit before the recording, but I feel like sometimes activism or activists and like organizers, it might like be triggering or like, people have like a negative attitude or think differently, when it comes to activism. And, for myself personally too, I feel like activism is just trying to, make things better, like being able to provide environments where people are able to thrive and really live their lives with dignity. And I think that's something that people don't often understand. So yeah, I just love to hear your thoughts about this. But what do you think that people often must misunderstand about activists and organizers like him?
Yeah, I do think there is sometimes it's like a stereotype that
Uh-huh.
activists are just like on the streets, like yelling.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. No, but it really is like a full-time
Yeah.
thing, like especially people doing this as their life work. But
hmm
yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, right now with the Defend Negros and
Uh-huh.
the campaign for justice for the Negros 19, actually a lot of my family members who are not wouldn't call themselves activists are
Okay.
actually getting more involved in like the little
Okay.
ways that they can. So whether it's like reading more on the different like whatever I post, they like read it and then we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
So I think it's actually giving a new way for people who don't view themselves as activists to get
Hmm.
involved. And I would say to folks who maybe are shying away from activism that
Hmm.
if you think there's something wrong, like an injustice or something, you might not even call it injustice at first. If you see that there's
Right.
something wrong, um, and you want to do something about it, then that's good enough. Like that's a good contribution to make something better. So I would say it's not. I mean, I think it's actually activism, but it might be just a negative connotation around the
I
word activism.
Right. No, I noticed that even in my conversations with people on here. So I've had a lot of people from all over the political spectrum, coming
Oh.
onto this platform. But, it's been great just having these wonderful conversations. Like, yeah, we might disagree politically, but we just want what's best for our communities. But I
hmm
think even me, like, as I'm talking to a person in my head, I'm like, no, this is activism. But I'm like, I don't know, it might trigger someone if I say, oh, you're an
Yeah.
activist. So it just like, I hope that we could get to a place where like activism is considered something like empowering and this is something that we should
Mm-hmm.
all really just strive for and it's not just like quote unquote liberal thing or progressive but yeah
Yeah.
there's like I if you sit down to think about like what's wrong with wanting what's best for people like our
hmm hmm
communities. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
really hope we could get there. Yeah, so what kind of impact do you believe that Lyle hoped to leave on the world?
Um, I personally think he thought he was not going to leave an impact.
Oh
Um,
really? Okay,
yeah, I
even
mean, he's a
through all
humble
this work.
dude, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
he
cool.
liked the behind the scenes work.
Hmm.
Um, we just concluded a conference this past weekend, and everyone just kept talking about how when we were setting up and like putting down the tape for the wires, they were
Yeah.
imagining like Lyle was there with them.
Hmm.
Because that's really what he did a lot of the
Okay.
times was behind the scenes,
Right.
more one-on-one. He would help like facilitate things here and there, but in
Hmm.
his mind, he was just like a background dude.
Oh, okay.
So I think now seeing the impacts that a lot of people that he left on a lot of people, and even
Yeah.
now still inspiring more people by his story. Uh, I don't think he would have ever imagined that this is
Okay.
the impact. Yeah.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that. And as you're talking, actually, it reminds me of like our shared experience with public allies. And I think that's what, when I
Mm-hmm.
learned like everyone leads, because I think going into the program, I never saw myself as a leader because I could what you said about Lyle really resonates with me. I'm more behind the scenes, like supporting other people in their own leadership. But I think through Public Allies, I really realized that we need people playing like different kind of roles, and we all have
Hmm.
impacts in different kind of ways. And yeah, that's why like Public Allies will always be very near and dear to my heart, and everyone
Yes.
who's been in that family.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, how have you seen others respond to his life and legacy after his passing?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see all the different stories that people are posting or even sharing.
Uh-huh.
So he impacted people. He was a part of a lot of different spaces throughout his life. So he had a good tight circle of friends. He had a long time like roommate that he really
Hmm.
impacted, and she's very close to
Right.
us. Um, and then there's like he was part of Bindlestiff. It's like a
Mhm.
Filipino theater here in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
So they're all pulling together different fundraising efforts for Defend Negros. But I
Yeah.
think the impacts that we have seen, or what people have shared, is that many are very inspired to contribute and continue what he was doing.
Uh-huh.
Um, so very heartwarming, and I mean it's very helpful. I mean my parents, because they
Yeah.
spend a lot of time with him, they're like, we didn't know any of the things that he did,
Right.
because he was just a humble dude who would just come over,
Yeah.
have dinner, show up to the family parties, but you would never hear him like show off that these are the different activities he's helping plan or doing.
Right. Right. No, just as you're saying too, like just like maybe not having that awareness of like having that impact, but just seeing these stories that had been revealed and everything. But if Lyle were still with us, like, what do you think that he'd feel like seeing like how all these lives that he's touched and all these stories that people are pouring out about him?
Knowing him, he would probably like make it a joke.
Oh,
He'd be
really?
like, okay, he'd be like, okay, everyone, no, no need, no need.
Oh, no, that's beautiful just to see like that legacy that he did leave behind. And I've been seeing just coverage on all these different like memorials like in his name that they've been having.
Mhm.
So, just like visually you could see how many people that he touched throughout his life, which I
Yeah,
think is really
yes.
amazing. Yeah, so I want to talk more about you too. So I know that this has been like an incredibly difficult journey for you. So what has helped you navigate through this grief during this time?
Yeah, what's been helpful? I mean, all the different events and vigils and
Mm-hmm.
kind words that people have been extending to myself and the family
Mm-hmm.
has been very helpful in the process of grieving. Um, I think even getting to see some of our friends in the Philippines, who was there to help us navigate how do we retrieve
Yeah.
his body and get his body back to the
Oh,
US, um, has been helpful in the process. Um, yeah, I think with every event, of course, I have to like rehash out how to explain what happened, and
right.
then rehash out like what's my testimony to his life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been helpful to just talk to people, and share what he was about, what he contributed
Yeah.
to, and honor him in that way.
Right. I was wondering too, like just during this time, have you learned anything new or about community or anything that surprised you about like the way that people have been showing up during this time?
Um, Not surprising.
Okay.
I think I mean, it's been great to see like people from his high school
Yeah.
life. Like actually, some
That's
of them
cool.
came into town
Okay.
when we were in San Diego, and then to see all of his like Bindlestiff family like
Hmm.
join, and also do activities and events. And so I think the ways that people are contributing and showing up and learning more about the Defend Negros campaign
Right.
has been not surprising, but it has been heartwarming to see that a lot of people want to contribute.
No, I love that. And what does honoring Lyle look like for you today?
Yeah, I mean, like every day is different. So
Right.
um, there's days where it's a packed with events, and I
Hmm.
know I have to like speak not just for Lyle, but I also have to help promote the fight for the Negros 19.
Uh-huh.
Um, especially because Lyle and Kai are the ones who are based here in the US. So we have a whole international platform that we can actually like share more
Okay.
about what's happening in the Philippines. So any opportunity I can, I will talk about what's happening in Negros and
Hmm.
what happened with Negros 19.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not the only killings that are happening.
Mhm.
So after Negros 19, there was a few more that, or at least one that I know happened also in the southern part of Negros.
Okay.
Um, so that's one way. Other ways, I mean, he uh, liked a lot of things. So
Okay.
Star watching Star Wars,
That's amazing.
Game of Thrones is coming, like the House of Dragons is coming back. So we're
Okay.
all gonna probably watch that all together.
Yeah.
I have never watched Walking Dead. I don't think I'm gonna
Oh,
go
really?
into that one.
Okay. No, I heard it's really good. Actually, I don't know why I stopped, but I watched the first season and I really
I
enjoyed it, but
I
I
watched
just
the
stopped.
first. I
Okay.
think I get scared
Oh
easily, so,
no.
so
Was
I
he
will
ever
just.
in, yeah, like any of the other zombie things that have been out?
I think
Have-
he was a Walking Dead
Okay.
person. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that one that him and his friends would watch, and I'm just like, I'm going
Okay. Oh no,
away.
that because I was just remembering like when like The Last of Us. Were you into that one
Oh
too?
no, I didn't get to see that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one's a good one
So
too.
yeah, Star Wars, that
Oh,
hanging out with his family and my nephews and family has been also parts where they'll like bring him up. Um yeah, so all the things that he liked to do, I'm trying to also share with
yeah.
people. I just found out his favorite drink at Coffee Bean is also his niece's favorite drink.
Oh
So that
wow.
was a nice
Okay.
discovery. So there's like little things here and there that I just keep
Yeah.
sharing with people.
Mm.
I mean, he wasn't perfect, so he liked everything sugary,
Love
loved
that.
Oreos, and so everyone's like, every time I eat an Oreo, I think of him. I was like, yeah,
Oh, oh.
don't eat too many.
No, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, what would you like listeners to understand about Lyle's life that may not come across to them in news coverage that's been going on?
Oh, I mean, he really dedicated his life to this movement, the National Democratic Movement in the Philippines.
Hmm.
So he joined when he was 18.
Uh-huh.
Um, he actually started a lot of different organizations or helped people start organizations.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I mean, I think he was just like a down to earth guy that
Hmm.
people could relate with. I mean, whether it was cheering for the Warriors or watching Star Wars. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone now is like, I'm going to watch Star Wars. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I think he was just like overall like a very humble and willing to listen to people and
Yeah.
help anyone. I mean, a lot of people would go to him for advice or
Yeah.
just to talk or to chit chat about things. But he also kept such a lighthearted, sometimes too funny. But
Okay.
he always not like made light of the situation, but always knew how to bring joy
Hmm.
into the very. I mean, the work that we do. If we're talking
Hmm.
about human rights violations in the Philippines, it's like gut wrenching,
Hmm.
like very you could get bogged down by all the like news that just constantly
Right.
comes in, but
Right.
he had a way where he knew the purpose of what we were organizing for, but also made it light. So I think
No.
those are the things that we don't that I think some of the news articles will capture, but it's
Yeah.
not until you get to talk to people who worked with him that you can see um, just the impacts that he has made.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that too. As you mentioned, there is a lot just going on, I think, all over the world right now. But
Hmm.
what gives you hope right now? What helps keep moving you forward?
Yeah. When we were driving through Toboso, or actually
Hmm.
driving through Negros, so we landed in Bacolod, which is
Okay.
on, I think, the more west side, and then we
Hmm.
had to drive across the top part of Negros to
Okay.
Toboso, and just seeing the fields and the like very rich land that the
Hmm.
Philippines has, um, yeah, gave me hope that it's worth fighting for. Um,
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of good organizing that's happening in the Philippines.
Right.
And then even here, seeing the different Filipino organizations come together.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have our next bigger convening will be end of June in
Okay.
I think in Southern California.
Okay.
We're putting together a Kalayaan conference, like a freedom. It's called Kalayaan means freedom, but
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be different organizations um, and community members coming together. So I think those are the times where I see a little glimpse of hope
Mm-hmm.
and like the brightness of the community coming together that makes me see how happy we all
Right.
could be collectively.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if he was here, he'd be very happy to see all of the
Yeah.
work that's happening.
Yeah, no, thank you. Actually, that's leads great, or is a great lead into my next question. So, if Lyle could speak directly to listeners today, what message do you think that he would want to share with them?
I think he would want to tell people like, even if you're going through challenges or
Hmm.
things might feel heavy or hopeless, or,
Yeah.
I mean, you open the news and it's not so good. Like
Right.
every
Right.
day, there's like
Yeah.
not good news. Um, he'd probably tell people you hold on to the community members and the
Mm.
collectives that you're with, and organize more people, um, and we'll event like if we
Yeah.
keep fighting, we'll win. So I think he would want people to not lose hope.
I love that.
I mean, he'll probably pull out some Star Wars quote and share it with people, like the
Mhm.
rebellion is built on hope, or
Yeah.
things like that. So I think although he also would admit he had challenges and
Right.
he had moments where he probably wanted to like just
Yeah.
not do the harder things, but in the
Yeah.
end, he stuck to it, and he would hope for that for everyone.
Right. You know, actually, that's a common thing that's come up too with just a lot of people doing community work and just like healing, finding that joy in the work. But, are there practices that help you heal getting through this work as well? Like getting through this work day by day? Because I think even me, like, I think I burned myself out too early as a young professional. And then as I've gotten older, just like, how can I sustain myself so I can keep doing this fight for like another day? So, what helps
Mhm.
you? Like, what kind of practices do you do to help you? Because, this work is heavy though, but I think it just also, like you were talking about finding that lightness, finding that joy though.
Yeah. I mean, it helps when you're with community.
Hmm.
So if you feel like the world sucks and I'm alone in all of this, then
Right.
go with the people.
Yeah.
Go with the
Hmm.
people. I think that's why it's important to have people to talk to, especially when there's like horrible things happening. Like
Yeah.
I just read there's like another killing that happened at a graduation
Oh
actually in
no.
San Diego. I just saw it before I
Wow.
opened this Zoom.
Okay. I'm to see
Um,
that.
yeah, we have to like be aware of why these systematic things are happening or
Yeah.
systemic things are happening.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, systemic things are
Uh-huh.
happening. Um, Sometimes it'll feel heavy, like once you start to research or understand why, even in the most remote places of the Philippines, why killings are happening.
Hmm.
It could get very, very like overwhelming, but we have to think of the people. So I think as long as we think of the people and as
Right.
long as we are serving the people, it becomes more important, but also sustaining yourself and like having fun
Yeah.
is also important. So I
Right.
think that's what we developed in our relationship as we were like
That.
working on community activities and events and campaigns. That even though it's heavy, we always found time to have fun.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I'd love for you to share this with people, but how can listeners support your family and the broader community affected by this loss? Like, how can people really show up right now?
Yeah. What's been helpful and what we are very appreciative of is that the issues of the Negros 19, the fight for
Mhm.
justice, we can't let it just die out.
Right.
So the more that people are talking about it, if there are different community members who wants to invite myself or invite the different organizations to even come speak to your circle of friends,
Mhm.
or even and we had some invitations to some churches. So wherever we can speak or even share the stories of Lyle and the Negros 19, we would
Mhm.
be happy to share because right now I think that's what the Armed Forces of the Philippines is banking on is that we will become quiet,
Right.
um, which is why they're doing a lot of intimidation in the countryside, is
Mhm.
because they don't want us to speak out against what's happening. So um, the Negros 19 is a campaign that we want to continue and develop and build more with
Mhm.
others and fight for justice for the long haul.
Okay. No, thank you for sharing that. And when future generations hear Lyle's name, what do you hope that they remember?
Let's see. Well, thinking of my nephews,
Yeah.
they know he's a hero,
Okay.
and they know he loves Star Wars.
Okay.
So some of them are like, he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
But I would want people to know more about what he was in Negros for.
Right.
And it
Right.
was really to learn from the peasant masses what
Mhm.
their day-to-day struggles were, and what the fight for the land is,
Mhm.
and to also really learn why the Philippines is so rich, and
Mhm.
but yet the masses there are so like very, very oppressed.
Mhm.
So there's something incredibly wrong with a
Mhm.
system that can't sustain even giving the basic needs to their citizens or to anyone, like actually the whole of the Philippines needs support. And it's not just there because the Philippines also sends overseas Filipino workers all over the world
Mhm.
every day. So it would be to also understand the plight of the Filipino diaspora as well.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that. And, thank you so much for your time. I had such a wonderful time talking with you. And my heart really goes out to you. I have a lot of
Thank
love for you,
you.
always will. And, I want to be here to support you in ways that I can. But just as we're wrapping up, I just wanted to leave it open to you to see if there's anything else that you wanted to bring up, anything you wanted to say that maybe you didn't get a chance to say earlier in our conversation.
Um, no, I think that was the most of it.
Okay.
There will be more tributes for Lyle and the
Mhm.
Negros 19. So I think the next big one will be July 18th. We're
Okay.
looking for a venue somewhere in Northern California
Uh-huh.
because we haven't been able to hold one here yet.
Okay.
So that will be another opportunity if people want to come say hi.
Okay.
Um, we can send the details.
Okay, great. No, thank you again. But just lastly, how can people find you if they'd like to connect with you or get more involved with what's going on?
Yeah, I'll send you the
Mhm.
Defend Negros,
Sure.
the handle. I don't know if it's on Facebook yet.
Okay.
That's one way. Um, that's probably the best way to get a hold, like contact us.
Okay, wonderful. But thank you again. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It was such an honor. I'm super grateful that you took the time to share this platform with me. But yeah, I truly hope to stay connected with you. And,
Yes,
I just looking forward to see what new developments might be out there in like positive directions. But yeah, I hope that you have a good rest of your day.
yes, you too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here and tuning in to Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community. Your presence in this movement matters. If today's conversation moved you, share it, talk about it, and keep the work going. Together, we're not just imagining change, we're making it. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and stay in the fight.
Every time I feel so mad and sad and bad, I say to myself, relax, lean back, it's a brand new day. And every time I feel so down that a friend